The National Intelligence Bureau, NIB, has arrested Yaudanso, an accountant at the National Service Authority, NSA, over a ghost name payroll scandal. This follows the earlier arrest of Kweku Ohinijan, former Deputy Director of Operations at NSA, while Gifty Owari Mensah, a former Deputy Executive Director, remains on the run. Additionally, the NIB summoned former Railway Development Minister Joe Garte for questioning regarding the stalled Ghana Sky Train project. The Deputy Minister Designate for Finance, Thomas Nyako Ampim, has reiterated government commitment to the free senior high school policy, assuring that there are no plans to cancel the program. At his vetting on Monday, he pledged to work with the Finance Minister, Dr. Kasiel Atofo-Singh, to secure adequate funding for the policy's successful implementation.
Chairman, I'm not aware of any subtle intention to cancel free SHS. And as you said, I would support my minister to provide adequate funding to support education. As to the outcome of the Education Forum, if Ghanaians are consensus on a particular direction and it becomes government policy, I would support it in any way. But like I said, President Mahama gave Ghanaians the assurance that he would not cancel free SHS, and I know he's a man of his word.
The Minister of State Designate for Public Sector Reforms, Lydia Lamisi Akanvariba, has called for a national discussion to review the recruitment process within the public sector, stressing the importance of efficiency. She told the Appointment Committee that with a strong focus on capacity building, institutional strengthening and technology-driven reforms, there will be enhanced productivity and less corruption. The Vice President, Professor Nana Jinopoko-Adjuman, has charged members of the Council of State to endeavor to work and help shape government policies and ensure equity and transparency. She says the country seriously needs resetting, and the council members advised the President should always be in the interests of the Ghanaian people.
This reset is not mere rhetoric. It is a pressing demand to overhaul the systems that have hindered our advancement and to create a governance model that is effective, forward-looking, suited to the challenges and opportunities of the 21st century. The success of this mission is inextricably intertwined with your responsibility to dispel the popular accusation of merely existing to validate predetermined decisions.
Savannah Regional Minister Salisu Biarubi has led a joint security committee to Bole to engage residents for their support to deal with the unresolved killings in Bole. Speaking to journalists on the visit, the minister emphasized that the regional and municipal security committees will collaborate to unravel the mysteries behind the death.
The regional security architecture and the municipal security architecture are going to put some strategies in place. What I would just call is the assistance of our own people on the ground and the collaborative effort of all and sundry to be able to come up with the perpetrators and deal decisively with them. But anyone who is either contemplating or is engaged in this enterprise, the person can only run but cannot hide.
This morning is on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. Coming up next, the National Intelligence Bureau, NIB, has been busy in the last few days investigating key scandals and suspicions of scandals of national interest. And this is creating a lot of disquiet and tension among some quarters. So let's get into this particular issue. And in fact, over the last few days gone by, the National Intelligence Bureau, NIB, formerly BNI, has detained Yao Danso, an accountant at the National Service Authority. He was invited for questioning, from what we understand, and then in connection with the ghost names payroll scandal that has rocked the institution and the suspicions of some acts of corruption, allegedly. Now, his arrest follows that of Kweku Ohene-Jan, the former Deputy Director of Operations at the National Service Authority, who was also taken into custody on Saturday, February 22, 2025. Gifty Oware Mensah, the former Deputy Executive Director of the National Service Authority, also remains on the run. We're going to put that on the screen right now, all these persons that I'm talking about, and we'll run through them right now as we speak. So there you have it. Now, this is the man that we are talking about. There's Kweku Ohene-Asare, as Ohene-Jan, as we put out earlier. He was reported to have been arrested in connection with these allegations of payroll fraud and ghost names scandal. Dr. Gifty Oware Mensah, former Deputy Executive Director at the National Service Authority, we understand has also been reported to be allegedly being pursued for his alleged involvement in the payroll fraud and ghost name scandal. Professor Christopher Amiawe-Comfy, on Saturday evening as well, we monitored reports of his invitation by the National Intelligence Bureau, and on Sunday was questioned for his alleged role in the stalled $3 billion Accra SkyTrain project. Remember that Accra SkyTrain project that had some monies also deposited in an offshore account, and that was supposed to have been some seed money for the projects that never took off. And questions had been raised as to exactly what had happened to that said money that was invested in that particular account, and also for what purpose. All of these questions, understand, is of concern to the National Intelligence Bureau. They're looking into it. Also, the former Railways Minister and Esikado Ketan constituency MP, Jogate, also invited for questioning in the same matter of the Accra SkyTrain project. That is what we also got notice of. Now, it's not alone in this streak of invitations and also the detentions by the NIB. Yao Danso, an accountant with the National Service Authority, is also reported to have been detained in connection with the alleged payroll fraud and ghost name scandal. You recall that sometime last week, the former National Service Authority boss and the former sports minister, youth and sports minister, issued a statement indicating that the reports by the Fourth Estate were untrue and a calculated attempt to smear them with untruth, to the extent that the said ghost names that the Fourth Estate had captured, there was no evidence of payment to them. The Fourth Estate went ahead to gather some information to the effect that they have, that there is some evidence of payment that had been made to some of these names that they captured as ghost names in that editorial and investigation that they did. I'm going to show that to you as we go on in a bit. But this man, Yao Danso, who was invited by the National Intelligence Bureau for his alleged involvement in the payroll fraud and the ghost name scandal. You understand, he was invited for questioning, but he has been released as we speak. He's joining us on the telephone right now. Mr. Danso, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight.
Yeah, good evening.
Great. First of all, let's establish this. You were invited by the National Intelligence Bureau earlier today or yesterday?
Yes, it was today.
Great.
This morning around 12, I was invited around 12.
And what exactly was the purpose of the invitation?
Actually, it is in connection with the news in the media on the ghost names issues.
I see. And what was the center of the interrogation or questioning? Was it to ascertain your role in this payroll fraud?
Yes. And I am the head of account at the national, currently head of account at the National Service, and I think they thought it wise that they need to invite me to also question me to get any information from me on the whole issue. That was why I was invited.
I see, but did you play any role in this ghost names matter we're talking about?
No. I'm new at the National Service as the head of account.
Right.
I'm a new accountant there.
You are a new accountant?
Yes.
At the National Service Authority?
Yes.
So if you say you're a new accountant, what do you mean?
Yes, I was posted there on April 2024 as the head of account.
Right.
But yes, as the head of accounts. And I took over on 23rd December 2024. So I just took over this very December 2024 as the head of account.
Right. You were posted in April, but you took over in December.
Yes.
Why that time frame of between April and December? What was happening? What were you doing?
Actually, when I got there to assume office, there was one man who was deputizing the one who was posted out for me to be replaced. And I think because of, he decided not to hand over to me because of his close to the political, it was so many issues that came up that I was just asked to hang on till he retires. So around December, and he retires, and then he handed over for me to take over around December 2020, 23rd December.
But this sounds very strange and misplaced, because you had the letter transferring you to the national head of, that's the head office of the National Service Authority as the chief accountant.
Yes, at the head of accounts, yeah.
Head of accounts.
Yes.
But then the deputy head of accounts decided not to hand over to you.
That was the issue. I think he was close to the corridors of power at that time. So,
but then, so who gave you the letter transferring you to the head office?
I'm a controller staff, controller accountant general. I was posted from Sunyani.
I see. So
Sunyani, yes. Yeah.
So between April and December, even though you're supposed to take office in April 2024, you decided to stay at home or what? And wait till December when
I was hanging around as the deputy head of accounts there till he retires.
Your letter given to you by the Controller and Accountant General said you are the head of accounts, and you were going there as the deputy because the deputy decided not to give you the chance to be head.
Yes, that was the challenge that I faced there. Yeah, so it was decided that I should be in his office, and then he moved to the head of account office. So I was in office, in his old office, and he was at the head of account office. So he retires 24 December 23rd, and I took over from there.
You took over on the 24th of December 2024.
23rd
December 2024.
2024, yes.
As the head of accounts.
Yes.
Did you report back to the Controller and Accountant General that even though he had issued a letter to you as head of accounts of the National Service Authority head office, somebody who is a deputy head had decided not to allow you to work, and so you were rather deputizing him? Did you inform him about it?
Yes, I informed my bosses about it, and it was arrangements between the executive director by then, internal arrangements that I should just hang around till he retires before I take over. So
I see.
That is it. Yeah.
So with all of this reports about the payroll, alleged payroll fraud and scandal there, since you've worked in the National Service Authority, not at the head office alone, but at the district level, because you understand you were transferred.
No. I wasn't working at the National Service district level. I was the head of account for the Regional Coordinating Council, Bono
Regional.
The regional coordinating, regional accountant there.
All the better.
Posted to Accra. Yes.
Great, all the better. So, how does all of this, the news of this scandal, strike you? Is this something that you suspect that could be happening? Did you ever encounter something of a sort at the regional level?
No. At the regional level, no.
Was there any news of possible ghost names or fraud taking place?
At the regional level, or when I was at the national service?
When you were at the national head office?
Yes, also heard about it when the expose came out around, I think November there on that. I also heard about it.
I see. And so what was the reaction there then when you were there?
I was also worried, and working in such institution and such issues are out, and everybody was worried, not me alone. Everybody was worried. And the image of the institution is also, when anybody hears that you work at the national service, and they just tag you with the ghost names. So that was, so we were just praying that the news should not be true. So that is it, yeah.
Well, the former director says that it is not the case, and that all of this is not true. That
actually, till I assumed office on 23rd, I wasn't having any access with any of the payments that they were making. I wasn't having any access on the system. I only had opportunity to get access to the system when I assumed office. And it was last week was my first payment that I made since I assumed office. And
this payment was to the current national service personnel?
The current payments that were made, yes. I made all those payments, yes.
I see.
Yes.
So,
and I was rolled on the system, the gift system, on 20th December. That was when I was put on the system to be able to make payments. So my first payment was the one that was just last week.
Okay. But since you've been enrolled on this GIPS system,
yes,
as head of accounts,
yes,
have you been minded to initiate some sort of audit to determine or confirm what the Fourth Estate had been reporting?
Actually, I have not cited any audits on the system, though there has been audits on other accounts at the national service, but on the system, I haven't cited any.
I'm saying that with you, now you are the head of accounts.
Yes.
You inherited a system,
yes,
that is said to be fraught with allegations of payment to ghost names.
Yes.
Would you be minded to initiate an audit
on the
that system?
Yes. There should be audit on the system.
You want there to be an audit on the system that you inherited?
Once there is audit on everybody, there should be audit on the system, because it is out of the system that all these informations are out, and it is generated from the system. So there should be audit on the system.
Right. Did NIB give you an indication that you would be re-invited or needed again as investigation?
Tomorrow I'll go back, and they need some information that I have to.
Okay. You're going back to the National Intelligence Bureau tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much. So I wasn't arrested as indicated on your media. I wasn't put into custody. No, I was just invited for questioning, please. So your reportage is denting my image all over the country, that I have been arrested and I have been put into custody of NIB didn't even do that. Okay. They invited me and questioned me. Yes, so please, if you can retract
And in fact, that's the reason why I actually had you, my producers called you up to join us tonight.
Yeah, okay.
To speak with you, right?
Yeah.
To understand exactly what things are happening. And you have given us further information that you just took office.
Yes, I wasn't
as
there.
head
My
of accounts.
first payment was just last week.
Your first payment was just last week.
On the system, yes. That's
good.
When I got to know how the system is.
That's some further information. Even though you had your appointment letter in April last year, you took office in December. You've given us reasons why. You say the deputy head of accounts there didn't want you to occupy that position of head of accounts. You rather went to be deputy. When you reported it, they say you should just keep quiet and be there until the time he retires. He retired in December, and now you are the head. You are minded that you would want to initiate an audit into the system you inherited. I think these are standing issues that it's some big takeaways from this conversation with you. So thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate you for joining us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's Yao Danso. He is the head of accounts for the National Service Authority. Earlier today, he was invited by the National Intelligence Bureau. Tomorrow, he would go back again for further questioning to aid in their investigation in this alleged ghost names scandal, now which the Fourth Estate had been reporting for quite a while now. What you're seeing on the screen right now are the portions of the handing over notes from Idrisu Ibn Abubakar, who is the former head of accounts or deputy who was acting as head and didn't allow this person to take over, according to Mark Yao Danso himself. You just heard him. And Yao Danso, whose also signature is on the right, is the officer who was taking over as of the 23rd of December 2024 as the head of accounts for the National Service Authority. So indeed, this document corroborates what you just heard from him, that he took office just on the 23rd of December 2024. And if you see the conclusion part of that statement, it says, following my retirement. So Idrisu Ibn Abubakar, who signed this handing over note, is seen there signing to this that following his retirement dated 25th December 2024, he has, per these handing over notes, handed over the account department to Mark Yao Danso, whom you just heard on the telephone, principal accountant of the National Service Authority, to proceed on his compulsory retirement with effect from 25th December. So that's the information that we have on this. And it's one that we're going to keep an eye on this. So it's put it on record. He's not in custody. He was invited for questioning, and he's going to go tomorrow for further questioning by the National Intelligence Bureau. But some striking developments in here, but you remember where you headed here, first here on Ghana Tonight exclusively. We're keeping an eye on how things are playing out. It's very swift movements with the National Intelligence Bureau right now. Apart from Yao Danso, we talked about Joe Gate, talked about Professor Christopher Mio-Ekunfi, Dr. Gift Owari Mensah, and Kweko Henejan. All these persons in there. It's one that we're keeping an eye on, keeping tracks of. So stay with us here on Ghana Tonight. But coming up next, on Ghana Tonight, the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRA, they are blaming the growing incidence of indiscipline in senior high schools on the current disciplinary measures. They want it reviewed, and we'll tell you why this particular call is coming through. So, the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRA, they've called for a review of the disciplinary actions, that's rules in senior high schools. It contends that this would strengthen heads of institutions to deal with recalcitrant students. President of the association, Angel Kabonu, was reacting to the shutdown of the Sokode Senior High School in the Volta region. That's specifically the Sokode Senior High School in the Volta region. Let's take a look at this.
Goes to senior high school with a certain aggregate. After first year, the person is not performing. The person did not come to school to learn. And then you say that person should remain there from first year, second year, third year, and go out of the school. So we are not even repeating people for people to re-evaluate themselves. We are not withdrawing people for lack of performance. There is someone, since he came to first year, did not attend classes till he was writing exams at the third year. And when heads of schools want to take disciplinary measures, you tell the heads of schools that the dispensation that we are in, you cannot take measures to withdraw students. We need a total overhaul for the disciplinary regime that we have in our schools.
Now, the chiefs of Sokode and Bogame have also condemned Saturday's night's bloody unrest between students of the Sokode Secondary Technical and some youth of Bogame. Now, the chiefs at separate press engagements on Sunday urged the police to fast-track investigations and bring the perpetrators to book. Take a look.
We condemn what happened yesterday. We do not in any way support wrongdoing. We are even shocked that some of the town folks who went there yesterday are former students of the school. We urge the police to fast-track their investigations and ensure that those who are culpable are brought to book. We are appealing to the government, the Minister of Education, and the various stakeholders to ensure that this issue is resolved quickly and the school open as soon as possible. We do know that not all of the students were involved, just a few of them, and that should not be allowed to affect the entire school.
Our attention is being drawn on all the false rumors that are making the news headlines that this violence is under the instruction of the traditional leaders of Sokode Bogame. We hereby refute any claims. Again, we hereby refute any claims or false rumors. We want to caution the media on their reportage that whatever they will say or report they should be very circumspect, and it should be nothing but the truth. We are ready to support the Ghana Police Service to bring all these perpetrators of this evil act to book. We also want to say that Sokode Bogame is a peace-loving community. I repeat, Sokode Bogame is a peace-loving community, and for which we will not do anything to tarnish or destroy our image. We plead with our youth to remain very calm and resolute while the Ghana Police Service carry on with their investigations. Sostek is our own school, and we can never destroy it or harm our own children.
So that's what's happening in there right now, and this is something that has been going on, and every time when these incidents come up, there's always that concern about the power that heads of senior high schools are giving to exert some level of discipline. Dr. Peter Patianti is Executive Director of the Institute for Education Studies. IFS is joining us on Zoom right now. Dr. Patianti, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight.
Good evening, Alfred.
Appreciate you. Now, we've seen
Can you hear
these.
me?
I can hear you clearly. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
We've seen these instances of indiscipline happen, at least over the last 6 months. We counted 11 schools, senior high schools, that these acts of indiscipline involving students of the schools have occurred. We see committees set up, not any clear disciplinary measure taken. What should be done in the face of all of these happenings to ensure that we nip this in the bud?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers once again. I think that we need to structure or use a different mechanism in dealing with this issue. I believe that we have tried various measures and they are still not working, and that is why that shows that we are not tackling the issue as it's supposed to be. I'm thinking that the way to go now is not to apply the same principle across all schools. I think that there should be some some kind of analysis based on the situation in each school. So going forward, I'm thinking that we should have classification of schools in terms of violence and indiscipline actions that happens in the school. And these schools should be marked in terms of its intensity. So a school marked as A means that they are prone to violence and indiscipline. A school marked as B could be a school that is likely to experience violence, like we do with hotspots in terms of violence when you are going for an election. I think when we do that classification, then we design measures to deal with these groups of schools based on the extent to which violence can be experienced in the school. Some of these issues are purely criminal, which I think that the police service should be given the authority to step in and then handle the situation. Some of them, we need the parents of these children to come around and then these issues are dealt with. Some of them just a normal debordinization or asking the student to do one or two things would suffice. But in most of the instances where the activities or the violence takes the form of a criminal enterprise, I think that we should allow the police to step into the situation and treat it as they will handle any criminal issue.
You want the police to get involved, and well, in some instances we've seen the police take up investigations and treat it purely as a criminal matter. Now, how about empowering the heads of the schools as well to exert this discipline that has been taken away from them because of some of the regulations we've seen instituted?
Yes, that's why I said that we need to do some classification. Some of the schools, you will need to empower the headmaster. But where you have students having, cutlasses and other weapons attacking people, the headmaster cannot do anything about this. And that is why such a school, which will be classified as A, would have a certain level of security measures and a police visitation in the school. Where students just engage in all these kind of routes and they are fighting here and there, the headmaster can be empowered to sanction the students. But you cannot apply the same principle across board. I think that has been the way we've been dealing with this issue. We want to establish a standard measure across all schools and try to implement it same. That is not going to work. That is what we've done all over the years. That is what we've tried to implement over the years, and these issues keep getting out of hand. So at this stage, what we need to do is to classify the schools. Some schools will need police posts. Some schools will need reinforcement. Some schools you don't need to do anything, you just have to empower the headmaster. Some schools you need to engage seriously the community and the parents, the community and the parents to get involved. We cannot use one method fits all kind of approach to deal with the kind of indiscipline that we are experiencing in our schools now. It is time the authorities think outside the box and institute measures according to what is experienced in certain schools, and then we will know how far we'll be able to treat some of these things.
I see, and also now that we're seeing the interaction of the PTAs as well, you think that this is also going to help in addressing this?
Yes, I think so. I think that we will be able to deal with some of the situations in some of the schools where teachers would be able to tell parents what their wards are up to, and collectively disciplinary measures can be designed and implemented in the school. Some schools will be able to pick this up and they can implement it and ensure that discipline is brought up in the school. But some of the schools, this cannot suffice, and you will need extra measures like police patrol to just put some fear in the students, and then you will be good to go. But I think bringing in the PTA would solve some of the problems in some of the schools as we go forward.
Okay. Doc, appreciate you for this. And then I know that you've been in the thick of things with this education reform That's the conference that is taking place nationwide. Now, is it a matter that you would expect that the reformation of the education system, that conversation that's going on right now, this issue of indiscipline would feature strongly as well?
Yes, I think there's a sub-team on school accountability, and I think they are extensively discussing these issues, and hopefully the recommendations that will come out of it will look at the extent of indiscipline that is engulfing our schools, and I believe that we'll be able to find a way around it. I believe that whatever recommendations that will be given, we also need to help in the implementation process, because mostly we get some of these things, and then when it gets to the implementation, it's a different story altogether. So all the recommendations that will come, school indiscipline, school accountability, all those things, we will need to support the system to be able to implement it to its fullness. Dr.
Peter Patet, appreciate you for this. Thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. He's Executive Director of the Institute for Education Studies, IFS, one of the foremost education CSOs that we have in this country. Still live here on Ghana Tonight. Coming up next, from education, let's go into health. And there's a good reason why. What is the future of the Agenda 111 policy or project under this administration or the NDC government? That's the fundamental question. President John Dramani Mahama has been talking about this policy and the concerns about this policy earlier today. President John Dramani Mahama, when he met the clergy, says that government will have to cough out some $1.7 billion to complete the Agenda 111 hospital projects started under the previous administration. It is emerging from the President John Dramani Mahama's own assessment and the reports he has received that only one of the hospitals had been completed as at the time his administration took office. At a meeting with the Christian Council, the President is encouraging the church to partner government to complete the rest of the hospitals and operationalize them.
As President, I made a statement that we're going to move to a situation where if the missions have a hospital in an area, we're not going to come and compete with the mission by building another hospital. We'd rather use the resources to improve the mission hospital so that it provides service. Unfortunately, that was not followed in Agenda 111. So there are many places where you have a mission hospital. We could have used that money to upgrade the facilities in the mission hospital. Government has gone to start a hospital, has not been able to finish it, and they are sitting there, some at foundation level, some at lintel level, and so many of them, almost 90 hospitals. We need 1.7 billion to be able to complete the hospitals. The one that they said they commissioned, there's nothing in it, just one hospital. They finished the structure, but there's not even a bed in the hospital. And so we discussed it a bit in cabinet, but the Minister of Health is going to come with a paper to see what we do. You know, I believe that if some of the missions are interested, we could get them to finish the hospital and manage the hospital and provide the service, you know, so that government who can find it to be a mix. We can also raise money and finish some, but the mission hospitals too can take some and complete them and run the hospital.
Also, there are some key things that President John Mahama puts out there in that statement you just heard him make. He's putting the cost of completing this Agenda 111 projects, the rest of them left, to $1.7 billion. And I'll tell you why that figure is of interest to us tonight. Number two, he's saying that based on the reports he has received, only one of the Agenda 111 projects had been completed as at the time he took office on January 7th, 2025. That's contrary to what the former President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo said, that 3 of the projects had been completed. That was when he presented his last State of Nation address. We'll recall all of that in a bit, but if he recalls, in August 2022, when the President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo launched this project, in that same year, when he presented the State of Nation address in 2022, that's the next year, 2023, he had indicated that the timelines for the said project were quite ambitious or overly ambitious, and some concession had to be made to review those timelines. Take a look.
Speaker, I have to report that like all major construction projects, it is evident that the initial schedule we gave for the completion of Agenda 111 was overly ambitious. Identifying suitable sites around the country, for example, has turned out to be even more problematic than had been anticipated. I am now able to say that a great deal of the preparatory work has now been completed, and work has started at 87 of the 111 sites. I've been assured that preliminary work on the remaining 24 sites is ongoing. We have every intention of seeing this project through to a successful end, which will enable me to commission all 111 hospitals before I leave office on 7th January 2025.
That was a statement of commitment by the former president, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, that before he would have left office as of December 2024, last year, all these Agenda 111 projects should have and would have been completed. But we know what the state of affairs is in our reality right now. This project was launched in August 2021. So what you just saw there was the State of Nation address delivered by the President in 2022, giving a status report of the timelines given for this project. Because when this project was launched, it was supposed to have taken 18 months to complete. That would have been January 2024. But just 6 months or so after the launch, reality set in and the timelines had to be reviewed. This comprised, as of the time of the launch, 104 district hospitals, 7 regional hospitals, 2 regional psychiatric hospitals, and the new National Psychiatric Hospital in the Greater Accra region. That was going to be the Accra Psychiatric Hospital redevelopment and expansion. As we speak, that's not happening. As of September 2024, according to Dr. Bernard Okoboy, the health minister at the time, 96 of these Agenda 111 hospitals were at various stages of completion, 96 of them. He addressed a press conference giving out these figures. Also, he indicated at the time that $312 million had been paid to contractors as of July 2024. That's according to Dr. Bernard Okoboy. Beyond that, that same period, as of July 2024, and take note of this, the health minister at the time said government needed $7.65 billion to complete the Agenda 111 projects. $7.65 billion. That was the evaluation as of July 2024. And then you hear President John Mahama say today, February 24, 2025, that based on his assessment and the report given to him, about $1.7 billion will be needed to complete the Agenda 1 projects, as against the $7.65 billion that, as of last year, July 2024, was said to have been the estimated cost of completion. So we asked the fundamental question about what could have gone into the evaluation and the projection of the cost of completion by the previous administration, and then this current administration putting 2 different figures out there. And the devil is in the details. So this is one that we'll get into shortly. And let's go on to Zoom now. And we've been joined on Zoom by Dr. Bernard Botte, who is a health policy analyst and also a private health practitioner. Joining us right now, Dr. Botte, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight.
Good evening, Alfred. and good evening to your viewers.
Great. And this is a policy that for you in the health sector, we've taken interest in, and then also its implementation. Hearing what the President John Dramani Mahama said today and how this project has been over time accounted for by the president, the former president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. How does all of this strike you?
Right. So, Alfred, I'm not surprised at where we are. I'd said previously, somewhere in 2022, when these announcements were made, that it is lofty an idea to want to build so many hospitals, but then the time frame and the cost involved is nothing but something that is unrealistic. Lofty as the idea may be, as much as Ghanaians need access to healthcare, we know that access to healthcare, or the fact that people don't have access, involves more than just building of putting brick and mortar together. So yes, we need the brick and mortar buildings. We also need what we call equipment in these facilities. And because walking into a hospital and you don't have the needed equipment to have your healthcare taken care of, it's more like not going anywhere at all. And I think that as a country, we should come to the point where we stop tickling ourselves and laughing. We should walk away from populist policies to excite people, sometimes for political gain. But reality hits, and that is where we are now. That back in 2022, when I think even just during the COVID era and getting to the dying embers of COVID, initially it was said to be 88 hospitals. I thought at that time that it was still too ambitious. Then later on, it was taken a notch higher to 110. I knew that we were joking, because we knew where the country was at the time, or where the country is now in terms of our funds. Unless, of course, there's going to be collaboration with private sector to have this done. But I think that where we stand on platforms and tout highfalutin projects that we know are unrealistic. And I gave the example of La General Hospital that was actually existing and was broken down, and just that one hospital hasn't been built up to today. That is the benchmark to tell you that 110 hospitals in a space of 15 or let's say 2 years is so unrealistic and cannot be achieved. And this is where we find ourselves. So I think it's quite unfortunate. It's good that we want to do such a thing. If we can do that, it would be very helpful to the country, because we are light years, many, many light years behind when it comes to access to healthcare, and not just healthcare, but quality and good healthcare that is comparable to anywhere else in the world. And if we look at what probably has been achieved with the Rich Hospital, the Dodoa, the East hospitals, you go there and you have that feel that you feel like you're outside of the country, where maybe you visit some healthcare facilities. Now, but to come to the point where sometimes, because of what we have said to the people, oh, we will build this number of hospitals for you. So we go into a community and put a structure there and tell the people, yes, we said we will do it and we have done it. Meanwhile, it's not fit for purpose. Then we have actually been very economical with the truth to the people. When I was a child, we have a rhyme that we said. Recently, I said it to my children, and they were like, "What is this?" It says that work whilst you work and play whilst we play. That is the way to be happy and gay. Things done by house are never done right. So work whilst you work and play whilst you play. So things that we do and we do it half-baked, we end up wasting resources, and it's never done. So it will be more prudent for us to actually plan better, take it one day at a time, one step at a time, look at our population dynamics. Where are the people? Where is the population density so high? What are the health challenges in these areas? And what do we put there for the people? Rather than just putting a whole blanket, a straight jacket, a blanket to everything, and then we just decided to roll it on. And it is where we are. It's unfortunate to hear that only one is actually completed. I mean, if you mentioned that the former president said there was 3, now we are told there's 1, assuming it was 3. I mean, in 2 or 3 years, only 3 hospitals. And we have so many things around us that tell us that we cannot do this in the number of, or a period of time that the former president said. And we all know that when we are going to do projects, as smart as the projects may be, they should be measurable, and achievable, and realistic, and also time-bound. But I don't think we did that as a nation. For me, I think it was just a populist thing, and it flies in the face of reason.
Dr. Dennis Bote, appreciate your analysis of this, and I thank you. Your recommendation as well as to what has to be done going forward in completing these projects that are at various stages of completion. Thank you very much. Here's a public health specialist joining us here on Ghana Tonight. We're back shortly after this quick break. Stay with us.
Mommy.
Michelle say, fe.
Different era, better result. Time has changed and time has brought Kel Chocolate Toothpaste, healthy gums, anti-cavity, fresher breath, and it whitens teeth. Kel Chocolate Toothpaste, Sankofa.
Yenchi, Kel Chocolate Toothpaste.
Happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved. You know, 1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior. You know, 1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
If whiskey could talk, Johnny Walker Black Label would sing. With notes that only come with 12 years in a barrel. Sweet, smooth toffee, rich fruit, and a touch of smoke. Tastes as good as it sounds.
Drink responsibly, not for sale to persons under 18 years of age. Not recommended for pregnant women. This advert is FDA approved.
Through every step of life's unpredictable journey, every moment counts. That's why you need a partner you can always trust for solutions, so you can be rest assured. Having impacted over 200,000 lives, processed over 4.2 million claims, partnered with over 400 corporations, paid out over 836 million Ghana cedis in claims, contracted over 1,600 healthcare facilities nationwide, and pioneered several innovations like free medicine delivery, an interactive mobile app, and more. You'll be surprised what can be accomplished in 20 years. We're part of the Nationwide family. Are you? Nationwide Medical Insurance, 20 years of leading the way.
Anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath.
I'm fat Missy Wayne.
Repacho Bantama.
Matias.
Senso Senko.
It's her smile.
The fresh breath.
Me, Gidi said we used to Kel 360 toothpaste.
Kel 360 toothpaste.
Gaskia, Kel 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector. Onim jom kasan.
Kel 360 did the way. It's cool mint, gives me fresh breath and your confidence booster.
Hey, you will see so feeling when you know Kel 360 toothpaste.
Happy smile.
Kel 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath. Kel, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
You can visit 3news.com for some more news, and also what we have been talking about here on Ghana Tonight is available on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, also on TV3 Ghana on YouTube and on X. On behalf of the rest of the team, thank you for staying with us here on Ghana Tonight. It's the beginning of another week of a lot of conversations on the show. Make it at the same time next week. That's tomorrow, beg your pardon, at 10 p.m. Tomorrow morning as well. You can join the New Day team at 6 a.m. The Sunrise 3FM 92.7 team also at 6 a.m. as I bring you everything you need to know. My name is Alfred Ocansey. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.